What's up, my people? It is time for more rebooking of the Nexus. Okay. So, I think I said in previous videos that it was going to have 3 parts, but no. I realized that there's a lot more shit that I have to rebook, especially if I'm going to redo everything like I'm doing. So, yes, it's going to be 4th part. I'm going to make the script for it tomorrow, and then hopefully I'll be shooting it next week, next Monday. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that. So, this part is going to go from the end of Survivor Series 2010 up until Royal Rumble 2011. Okay. So what happened after Survivor Series 2010? They had Nexus, led by Bret Hart, who admitted in a promo before Survivor Series that yes, he's the one who was in the ear of all these young guys to say, yeah, go destroy everything on Monday Night Raw in June because I have a big bone to pick with all of WWE for screwing me after all those years in '97. Yes, we need to use that bitterness that Hart still had, even after Raw in January 4th of 10. He was still bitter about the screw job, and he always will be. And that's fine, but he also wants to contribute. As you saw in real life and as it actually happened in NXT. You know, he'd worked with people. You know, he'd worked with Natalia and stuff like that. So let's make that real. Let's have him work with the Nexus because WWE, the only reason why WWE even did the Nexus was to see if young dudes could work right and could work well. Now, a lot of them weren't able to. Or a lot of them were just mid-carders at best because they couldn't do a promo or that kind of stuff. And they needed a little bit more. They needed about 1, 2, 3 more years. You know what I mean? In the case of Ryback, he only needed a couple more years before he went from Skip Sheffield to Ryback. Skip Sheffield. My God. Reminds me, I actually met Ryback 5 years ago. WWE was doing a house show. And I saw him at my gym. And I said to him, because I know his name was Ryan Reeves, so I called him by his actual name, Ryan, because I saw him in Tough Enough in '04. That's when he first appeared. And I just said, hey, Ryan. He's like, how do you know my name? I go oh, I watched you on Tough Enough, like way back in the day, but I know you're Ryback and stuff like that. I go, dude, like, how'd you let them name you Skip Sheffield? He's like, oh, I was just trying to pay dues. And I'm like, fair enough. Saw him and Sheamus. It was pretty cool. We didn't work out together because they were overhead pressing my squat. That dude overhead presses 315. Ryback does. Just letting you know. He puts 315 on the bar. So, and he does that. And yes, 350 pounds. It's insane. Okay, anyways. Enough of that. So it's Survivor Series 2010. We have Nexus versus WWE. McMahon says, okay, look, you really think your Nexus can hang with our WWE guys? Then fine. Let's make it like the inaugural brawl in the invasion, to where if more Nexus teams or more Nexus individuals win their matches, then fine. Then you get a little bit of WWE program to do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And also in the last few parts, I mentioned that Shawn Michaels was going to come out as a GM of Raw instead of the laptop of death. We're not having the laptop. No laptop. No. I don't care if I'm bringing back Michaels versus Hart. I don't give a shit. No laptop of doom. No. That thing gave people cancer. Okay? Forget this current virus. We had a virus in wrestling 10 years ago called the laptop of death. And it was lowering people's intelligence. It really was. Okay? So that's what we're going to have instead of the laptop of death for the GMs. It's going to be Shawn Michaels. So, and at the Go Home show before Survivor Series 2010. So, Go Home show before Raw or SD, whatever. Miz announced, I'm still having Miz win the Money in the Bank. He is cashing in his MITV at Series. So there you go. Oh wait, yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. That was at the beginning of Survivor Series. My bad. Alright, yeah, so Survivor Series 2010. Okay, 1. Miz announces at the very beginning of the show that he will cash in MITB. If Nexus wins more matches, Hart gets 1 hour on each show to do whatever. And that's going to be very, very important. And on commentary, we're going to have Cole, Hart, and Michaels on commentary. Alright, so the card is going to be like this. So men's 5-on-5. We're going to have, whoops. So we're going to have WWE guys versus Nexus guys, obviously. So Christian, Edge, yes. So you'd see a little bit of return of Edge and Christian, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Big Show. Nexus is Bray Wyatt. Yes, he's not going to be Husky Harris. No, he's Bray Wyatt. He's going to be Bray Wyatt from the beginning, okay? And he's not going to have the same kind of gimmick, but, you know, he's definitely not going to have the gimmick that Husky Harris had. My God. Husky Harris. Skip show. No wonder these young guys couldn't get anything done. My God. Who names a wrestler Husky Harris? What was WWE thinking in late 2010? My Lord. And Mike McGillicuddy. Hey, no, it's Joe Hennig. Joe Hennig. Wade Barrett. Sheamus. And Senshi. Not Kaval. No, Senshi. Nexus wins. Barrett is sole survivor. Everyone gets some good work in. You know what I mean? It comes down to the wire. It comes down to Barrett versus we'll say Barrett versus Big Show. You know, and Cole and Michaels, and Cole's like, oh, how's Barrett gonna beat Big Show? And Shawn Michaels is like, sorry, Brett, your team ain't winning here. But then, by hook or by crook, Wade Barrett gets the pin over the Big Show. Makes him look good because WWE wanted him to look good over other people. Everyone else was not really being taken seriously at all in the Nexus, in the original Nexus. So, gonna have some good work with that. So, okay, now, so 5-on-5 women. 5-on-5, we have WWE Natalya, Eve Torres, Jillian Hall, and the Bellas versus Nexus. And with Nexus's women, you're going to see something different here, because WWE's women don't really get taken seriously because it's still the divas shit. But Nexus's women, you know, they're a little different. They don't care about the whole modeling thing. You know what I mean? They're not like the divas. You know what I mean? Even the ones who who jump from WWE to Nexus, who used to be part of like diva searches and stuff like that, they want to be taken more seriously. So you'll see. Well, Natalya never really, you know, didn't work in stockings, but you know, Eve, Jillian, and both Bellas definitely showed everything off when they wrestled. But with Nexus, you don't see that from any of the girls in Nexus. Okay. Even if you once did. And the reason why that is because I want Nexus to be part of the women's, I want Nexus to be the genesis of the women's revolution that took place, you know, in late 14, early 15. And to do that, we need to set it with the Nexus. So, Nexus we have Layla, again, who used to be diva, but now she's serious. So now you see her with just black tights, you know, no makeup. Not gonna have any of the Nexus girls wear makeup at all. No makeup. And you actually hear Cole say that. He says to Hart, he says, "How come your girls aren't wearing makeup?" And Hart goes, "Because they take wrestling seriously. And they want to be taken seriously. And they want to be seen as competitors, not models. Not like all the rats that Michaels has been with. You know about that, don't you, Sean? You know what I mean? Maybe Hart doesn't use the word rats. Maybe he uses something different. You know what I mean? Something like that kind of, you know, not something that maybe isn't as slut shaming, or you know, or something like or wannabe supermodels. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So you have Layla, you have Maurice. Big change for Maurice. So for Survivor Series, Maurice is actually gonna cut her hair. Okay? Like cut it and like spike it. Make her look like tomboyish. And she's not gonna come out to that ooh wee. No, she's gonna come out to like something. It could be like you know, whatever, generic rock jobber music for all I care. But it'll be something way different than what we've previously seen from Maurice for years on end, for years before. AJ Lee, Caitlyn, and Naomi from the season 3 of NXT. Trying to spell Caitlyn. Unfortunately, Nexus's girls are not as experienced, and WWE wins this one. With Natalya being sold, or Natalya and so the Bellas do like twin magic. Brett doesn't like it. Brett doesn't like the fact that Natalya's in WWE and not Nexus. You know, like he actively roots against her, and Cole's like, but she's related to you, whatever. And Hart goes, you know what? If she really cared about the Hart family, she wouldn't be in WWE. She'd be in Nexus. You know, so he's pretty upset about that. And now we have the titles. So, start with the ladies' titles and do it. Ladies title. We have Michelle McCool. Retains against Kelly Drew McIntyre for the IC title. Cody Rhodes. So that's two for the that's two. So now it's Nexus. Now it's Nexus 3, WWE 1. U.S. title. We have DiBiase Jr. Retains against Titus O. Against Titus O'Neil. And like I said at the end of the last video, we're going to have Triple H versus Batista. Who Batista actually joined the Nexus at the Go Home show, at the Go Home TV shows going into Survivor Series. He said, you know what, I'm going to be Nexus right now because WWE never did anything good for me. They didn't take me seriously after WrestleMania 21. It's only good, they just goes on a big rant, whatever. So then he challenges Triple H, and Triple H makes a surprise return in late 2010 instead of in 2011, and he beats Batista. So we're doing three-way dances for the WWE and the big gold title. So WWE title, three-way dance. Punk defeats Jake Hager and Ray It's hard to see because I'm like writing on my thing in OBS. So for the world title three-way dance, Miz beats Cena and Orton. Oh yeah. So and Miz is Nexus here. So if you count it all up, so let's see, we have Nexus won the men's 5-on-5. WWE wins the ladies 5-on-5. Michelle McCool retained against Kelly Kelly, so that's 2 for Nexus. McIntyre, that's 3 for Nexus. DiBiase Jr., that's 2 for WWE. 3 for WWE with Triple H. 4 for the world title with WWE, and 4 for Nexus. So it's 4. So Nexus 4, WWE 4. Survivor Series ends in a tie. Of course. Yes. Is that predictable? Absolutely. Does it matter? No, because it's still exciting to see that. So, after Survivor Series, some things get a little serious. So at TV, Raw or SmackDown, doesn't matter to me, after series. So at any given TV show after Survivor Series, Vince McMahon says, look, this ended in a tie. The tie's going to WWE because it's my company. So sorry. I don't care. He says it to Bret Hart. He says, I don't care if you think you're getting screwed. I don't care if you think your Nexus guys are getting screwed. It's my company. I want to protect it. And I'm going to do whatever I need to protect it. But I will say this. I will want to leave things up to the general manager of WWE, Shawn Michaels, to decide your fate. To see if your Nexus guys can still wear that nice Nexus merchandise and still have your titles and still, mess with our WWE guys on TV and off TV, even in house shows and stuff like that. And you do see that. Like, you will see on a lot of these TV shows, you'll see Cole, he'll say, like, look what happened at this live event, at this house show here, about how Nexus just came in from the crowd or came in dressed up as security. Like, they can't do this. You know what I mean? So Nexus is still like a bad guy group here, but they're going to start transitioning into their own company, very similar to what should have been happening during the invasion. Only it's going to be materialized now. It's actually going to be a thing. There's going to be a WWE and there's going to be a Nexus, and each of them going to have they're both going to have their own roster of good and bad guys. It's not just going to be WWE's the good guy and Nexus is the bad guy. That dynamic ends with this show. So yeah, so after Shawn Michaels says, you know what? Oh yeah, all right. So Michaels agrees with McMahon. And it seems like the Nexus is over. And then Punk comes out. Then Punk comes out. And he says, as the frogs outside my apartment chirp like crazy. There's like billions of them in there. There's like a little pond, but like behind my apartment, and they're just like crazy over that pond. It's ridiculous, but it's cool too. Anyways, yeah. So he says, even though I'm WWE champion, never said I was in WWE. And he takes off his shirt. To reveal a Nexus shirt. So, at the end of Survivor Series, it was actually Nexus 5, WWE 3. So now both champions, the World and WWE champion, are both Nexus guys. And yeah, so we're having Punk join Nexus a month or so earlier than what actually happened. Because Punk was a bad guy anyways. And the straight edge society was gone by the fall of 2010. And Punk was hurt, and and he was doing his little commentary, which was fun. I liked it. It was really cute. But I'd rather have him have a role in the Nexus earlier. This way, they actually see the gravity of the situation. Be like, oh my god. So now both main champions, both main singles champions, and the IC champion are on Nexus. Holy crap. How's this going to be? How's this going to work here? So, yeah. And it's revealed, he reveals in a backstage thing at Survivor Series, like some unknown footage, just footage that wasn't shown on the pay-per-view, but it was just like kind of taped, that Punk was like shaking Bret Hart's hand, and that he joined this. So he joined the Nexus on the night of Survivor Series. So Michaels sees that. So both Michaels, and Mick see that Punk joined Nexus at Series in a lost or in an untelevised, or in a backstage segment, whatever, in a backstage this means Nexus actually won, And now Hart can get 1 hour on Raw and 1 hour on SmackDown. Oh, so now, yeah, so now this is what's going to happen. So at SmackDown, after series, whoops, so this is actually going to be Raw, yeah, so it's Raw. Hart announces that Nexus will be its own organization. That would be called Nexus Stampede Wrestling. Yes, he's actually going to call it after his first promotion that he ever worked in, which is, of course, Stampede in Canada. He's going to say, he says, and Hart says, look, like, I don't want to crush WWE. I never really wanted to do that. I just wanted some more competition for WWE. Like, they've always tried to manufacture with the draft and with the invasion and stuff like that. But yeah, here. Says that the invasion, whoops, and the draft never really worked out long term, so why not have NSW versus WWE? It's better for the boys and the business. This turns him good because fans start cheering him after he says that. He says, look, I just want to dedicate the rest of my life to wrestling because it's the only thing I really take super serious. And that's why I've been bitter. It's because I didn't think that I was being taken seriously when I got screwed at Survivor Series. I didn't think that I was being taken seriously when DVD came out about me and after my half-assed induction in the 06 Hall of Fame. I didn't think I was being taken seriously when I appeared on January 4th, 2010 Raw to shake Michael's hand and to do that segment. I didn't feel like I was being taken seriously at WrestleMania 27. All I want to do is just be taken seriously. All I want to do is have this business be better. I don't want to destroy WWE. I want to make it better. And that's what Nexus Stampede's going to do. So this turns Hart good. And most of the Nexus guys also start turning good. Guys like Drew McIntyre, who he comes out with his IC title and he says, look, like, McMahon, like, selected me to be the chosen one, but, you know, I never felt like I was, like, responsible or whatever, or I felt like there was a lot of responsibility on me, so I want to, like, be a fighting champion, that kind of stuff. And so he challenges, I don't know, Kofi Kingston, and loses. He loses the IC title. And Miz does not turn good because he's Miz. Neither does Punk because he's Punk. But either way, you see a lot more stuff happening on the TV now. So, however, he does come to an agreement that the WWE and World titles need to be unified. But how? Michaels suggests a Hell in a Cell match. And yes, so it becomes like exactly like Armageddon was 10 years ago. or 10 years before this. If you remember that, the 6-man match for the WWE title, we're going to do that to unify the. So a match is made. So a match is made. 6-man elimination match in the cell at Armageddon 2010. There you go. So, and Miz doesn't like it, and neither does Punk, and Bret Hart actually goes to both of them and says, you know what? Tough. Be fighting champions. Be like I was, and I'll admit it. Be like how Shawn Michaels was. Don't forget, this was also during the tapings of the Michaels and Hart rivalry documentary DVD that came out in early 2011. I don't know if you remember that. So, this whole NSW versus WWE thing, and the reason why we're having Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart on TV so much is, yes, it's to say, look, we're coming out with a DVD, and you're going to get to see the owner of Nexus Stampede Wrestling and the GM of WWE have a conversation about their rivalry. So, that was still relevant in 2010, 2011. Fans still wanted that. They still wanted closure on Michaels versus Hart, and they did get it in the form of that DVD, and you're also going to get to see it in my rebooking of the Nexus. Okay? So, John Cena he does a promo segment during one of the TV shows before. So Cena he does a promo before Armageddon. He says, look, if you're in Nexus Stampede, then you need to put your titles up. Put your title up against any of us from WWE. And so that's how Drew McIntyre loses his IC title to Kofi Kingston. Because he'll be like, look, here's a guy who I think has not gotten a fair shake in a very long time. Kofi Kingston comes out, and Cena says, aside from being one of the 6 guys at Armageddon, which you're going to compete for later on down the road, what title would you want right now as a singles title? And Kofi says, I want the IC title. And Drew McIntyre says, you know what? I'm going to be a fighting champion. I'll put my title up against you. And you get to see several of these matches. You get to see a lot of these matches where it's WWE guys going up against NSW guys and girls for their titles. And you see a lot of that stuff. So yeah. And so after Cena's segment, or during Cena's segment, because let me back up, and I forgot I wrote something different here than what I just said. Cena says, look, all of Armageddon, the 6 guys at Armageddon is pretty much booked, but, what title would you want that isn't the World or WWE title? And then Kofi says, Intercontinental title, and then that match happens. Because during John Cena's segment, Orton and Mysterio. So it's 3 former champions. Put 6 of the best guys today in this match. So Miz, Punk, and who did I have as the other guy here? I don't remember. Damn. Oh, Edge. Surprisingly, Edge. Yes, Edge joins Nexus Stampede Wrestling, and he cuts a pretty bad promo against WWE. He says, "Look, I won however many titles in WWE. However, they were all fucking transitional reigns. They're all 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's bullshit. Who did I lose it to? Cena. Cena, Orton, or whoever else he lost it to. I don't remember. So that's going to be the match. That's going to be the 6-man match at Armageddon. So the match is made. Cena, Orton, Punk, Miz, Edge for the unification title. In the cell at Armageddon. And of course they all have a big brawl after. Even if it's NSW, because it's not just NSW versus WWE now. Even though Miz is still Miz still tries to he still tries to kind of reason with Punk and Edge. He's like, look guys, look, if you win against me, then I'm good. Then I'll have you challenge for me, or whether it's one of you two. I don't care for Orton, Mysterio, or Punk, or Cena. I don't want any of those three. But none of them are buying it. Edge and Punk are like, screw off. You know what I mean? So yeah. So also another thing is that Bret Hart says, look, give us a chance. It's not going to be WWE Armageddon this year. It's going to be NSW Armageddon. And yes, this actually means, it doesn't mean that it's on WWE.com and it's like, here's the separate brand. No. There is an actual website called NexusStampedeWrestling.com, and it actually has Armageddon being pushed on that platform. You have to go to NSWshop.com to buy all of the NSW merch from the NSW guys. It's not going to be like the Invasion, where it was like, oh, well, we have WCW and ECW, but it's part of WWE's brand. No, it's not like that at all. It's a completely different brand. It's a completely different look. All that other stuff gets changed. And you see that at the Go Home SmackDown before Armageddon. So, WWE has their hour, and NSW changes everything for their hour. So up until this point, it was just, here's WWE for the top of the hour. And now NSW is coming in. But it's the same commentators, it was the same King and Cole. But now, no. Now, they bring in different shit. They bring in different announcers. They bring in different commentators. Whoever Hart likes, I don't know. Whoever that is, that kind of stuff. And things completely change. At the end of the show, Hart says McMahon allowed him to make Armageddon NSW branded, which means the same pay-per-view provider, but now instead of ordering WWE Armageddon, no, now you must order Nexus Stampede Wrestling Armageddon. And they don't call the fans the WWE Universe. They call them the NSW fans. That kind of stuff. And you don't see WWE titles being... you see WWE's titles. They're still going to be defended, but it's going to be like secondary. You know, it's going to be like, okay, here's a guy from WWE defending their IC title. Here's Kofi from WWE defending his title. It's not our title, but it's theirs. You know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff. So now it's NSW Armageddon 2010. Okay. So ladies title. Cool. Champion defends or retains Natalia, who still has zero interest in joining NSW. She still's like, no, I don't need that anymore. It reminds me of the dungeon, and I don't really care about going back to the dungeon. And she says that to Bret Hart's face. Bret Hart's like, okay, I mean, you know, you're gonna go up against Michelle McCool, so it's whatever. So the ladies' title is still interpromotional. It's still the WWE ladies' title. You know what I mean? So that's not gonna change. Not now. It's gonna change later. In a big way, it's gonna change later too. So yeah. So all right. So what happened with Drew McIntyre is that he lost his IC title. However, Bret Hart made another title. He called it the NSW TV title. And just like Bischoff handed the title to Triple H, Hart also handed the TV title to Drew McIntyre. So and he retains against a guy named Tyler Black. Yes, we're putting in the Shield guys from 2012 in now, because they have all three of them have experience. Okay, all three of them have been in FCW, and yes, that's what we're gonna see going into 2011 with this. Is what we're gonna see. We're gonna see guys from Florida Championship Wrestling. By the way, I need to rewatch that documentary on WWE Network just to pull some stuff from there. So I can say, okay, here, look, this is what happened. They're joining NSW. Because Hart says, look, if you're a young guy, if you're born before 1980, or after 1980, if you're born after 1980, you're going to want to join Nexus Stampede. Because Nexus Stampede is interested not just in the next 10 months, 1 year. We're interested in the next 10 years. So if you are that young and you want to win some good titles and get some good TV time, get some good work in, join us and we're going to have good opponents for you. You know, that gets said at the TV shows before Armageddon. So yes, so the TV title and Drew McIntyre, he retains against Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, you know him as Seth Rollins, who puts up a pretty damn good fight. Tag team titles. Wyatt and Hennig. Yes, they're still they're a tag team just like they were originally booked. Only now it's Bray Wyatt and Joe Hennig, and it's not Husky Harris and Michael McGillicuddy. WWE was John Laurinaitis, like, written all over that. Like that was, yeah. My God. I just saying the names just makes me just cringe over 9,000. Just saying the damn names. As we hear this bullshit behind the apartment. Whatever, no. Okay. So, retain. By the way, the tag team titles also, they were just unified. They were like, Hart and Michael said, look, like, let's unify the tag team titles, make them the same, and just call them the undisputed tag team titles. And Hart's like, yeah, it's a good idea. Against Hart Foundation. Or not Hart Foundation, Hart Dynasty. And so another title that Bret Hart brought back with NSW was the European title. And a guy named Leaki wins a battle royal to win. In this battle royal, you see guys who I don't really think ever really deserve to be on the top of the card in late 2010. Guys like Sheamus, Wade Barrett, other guys like that. David Otunga. And what's his name? Evan Bourne, stuff like that. A whole bunch of those guys. So, and some other Florida Championship Wrestling guys too, who are just trying to break into the business. It's a pretty big match with like 20 people in it. So yeah, it's good stuff. Leaki wins. You know who Leaki is? Roman Reigns. Yeah, but before that he was Leaki. You know what I mean? And after he wins, he gets on the mic and he says, "Oh, even though I'm Samoan, I'm still gonna defend this European title. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It's still a really good title for me, even though I'm not really European. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So, yeah. All right. And there was a number one contender. And number one contender spot for the ladies' title at the Royal Rumble. Caitlyn defeats Maurice. And Maurice is not happy about it. She turns heel on Caitlyn. That kind of stuff. And Caitlyn, I'm going to book her pretty aggressively going into 2011 because I always thought she had a really good look to her. And I thought she was very underutilized in her tenure with WWE. Yes, she won the Divas title, but and yes, she had a pretty decent feud with AJ Lee, which is going to materialize after all this is all said and done, as you're going to see at WrestleMania 27. But for now, we're going to have her go for the ladies title. Because, yeah, why not? And so the 6-man cell match. Punk wins. So, yes. So, we're not going to even see the summer of Punk here. It's going to be fast forwarded 6 months to the winter of Punk. So, Punk wins his title. And he gets on the and the NSW announcer, whoever it might be, whoever Hart decides to bring in, like Tony Schiavone, maybe, I don't know, something like that. That'd be nice. Goes in and says, "So now you're the unified champion. So you've unified the world title and the WWE title. Are you gonna call it the NSW title? Are you gonna call it the unified WWE title? What are you gonna call it?" Punk just says, "This is going to be my title." And not a lot of people know he's going to fire off a different version of the pipe bomb. And it's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be pretty insane. And it's actually going to cause Bret Hart to come out and cut to credits earlier, because he doesn't want Punk to say what he wants to say. Punk says, "A little birdie told me that a former WWE champion who went Hollywood is coming back for a match against John Cena. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm going to make sure that he knows exactly who I am, who we are, what this business is, and how this business is not going to just welcome a guy who says he's always going to come back and then never comes back. He's actually going to put Cena's words about The Rock, and he's going to include that too in this pipe bomb. And he said, I'm not calling this the NSW or the WWE title. I'm calling it the CM Punk title. Because the only thing that's real in this industry is me. Bret Hart started NSW because he had a beef with WWE for screwing him over something that happened almost 15 years ago. How childish is that? How childish is it that Vince McMahon only wants John Cena to have the title and only wants John Cena to do Make-A-Wish stuff, and he wants to build John Cena up to be the next Hulk Hogan because McMahon couldn't hold on to Hulk Hogan until he turned like 50, which is what he wanted to do. That kind of stuff. So you hear another variation of the pipe bomb. And Punk says this about Bret Hart. He says, look, I understand what Bret Hart's vision was, but his vision, he doesn't want young guys to be relevant. He wants young guys to be relevant because of Bret Hart, which means he wants Bret Hart to be more relevant than anyone else. And then Bret Hart comes out, and then he says, all right, Mr. Brooks, Phil, that's enough out of you. I'm cutting your mic off. I'm cutting to the credits. Thanks for watching, everybody. And so that is going to be a major thing in 2011 because it's going to be Punk versus everybody, and he's going to actually be featured a lot more in the beginning of 2011 rather than the back half of 2011, which was actually booked. Because if you do that, then you keep CM Punk longer. You know what I mean? That's how WWE should have done that. Because when Punk joined Nexus at around the same time this happened, so I'm replacing tables, ladders, and chairs with Armageddon, as you can tell. So when Punk originally joined Nexus, it was just like, okay, well, Wade Barrett couldn't hack it as the leader of the Nexus. Let's try CM Punk. Let's give him another a watered down version of the Straight Edge Society, when I don't think he wanted that. I think he wanted to just do his own thing like he wanted to like he did in the summer. Just be his own man. You know what I mean? And so we're going to give him this opportunity now in late 2010 instead of dragging everything on for 6 months. So that is part 3 of me rebooking the Nexus. The final part is going to include the TV shows after Armageddon 2010 up until everything gets put to an end at WrestleMania 27. I'll see you in that. Making this was really difficult, and I'm missing a lot of stuff, but I hope you're enjoying this because I'm enjoying making it. Again, this is not edited or anything like that. I don't have editors, so it's not maybe as cool as the other fantasy booking videos should be or whatever. It's not as nice, I guess. It's not as whatever. But I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. All right, wrestling fans, I will see you in the last part, which is hopefully going to make air next Monday. Take care.